Welcome back. Now in this segment, I want to take a look at a couple potential legal trends. These guys will tell me if I'm full of it or if there may be something to this. First up is bullying. Now this is no laughing matter. Certainly when we're talking about young kids, we've done too many stories where it ends up in tragedy. But what about with adults? Now nobody disputes in the video you see here, Mike Rice, the then Rutgers basketball coach, bullying kids, humming basketballs at him, yelling at him, all sorts of unspeakable things, getting physical with the kids. Slightly less clear, the bullying claims in the locker room of the Miami Dolphins. We might have text or a voicemail, but there's not video. Everybody agrees, incognito, a jerk. Not sure, though, if he's a bully, especially when you hear some of the other comments from his teammates. Recently, we go back to Rutgers because of a claim of bullying again, this time on the football team. But these claims, at least comparatively, seem pretty thin. A lot of people saying it sounds like the environment we've come to expect when it comes to football here, a coach yelling at a player. Now, I want to extend this where I think is the next inevitable thing, because the law, certainly cyberbullying, the law hasn't caught up to cyberbullying. But what about bullying in the workplace, or bullying as it relates to an adult, professional, or otherwise environment? Are you guys going to start having cases here pretty soon? I already see the smirks, that somebody's going to say, you know, in the lunchroom, they made me feel uncomfortable. I couldn't perform my job because I was so emotionally distraught or whatever else, or fill in the blank here. It seems to me that this is when, not if, this is going to start happening, if it isn't already.
Well, I'd say in the workplace, number one, there is a lack of civility, and in the workplace, you shouldn't be able to intimidate somebody because you happen to be superior to them there. And you do find a lot of times that people are actually threatened, and it may go beyond quote-unquote bullying to a crime. It could end up being harassment. Sometimes it's more than that. It ends up being an assault, sexual harassment, sexual misconduct. So all of those things.
Those things are a little clearer. I think the public understands what sexual harassment looks like, if there was ethnic harassment or whatever. Okay, those laws are on the books. You can't do that stuff. But when a boss is demanding because somebody hasn't made deadline, or somebody says you're not making your sales quotas or whatever else, is tone now going to be something that can make you civilly liable because of the changing atmospherics of what's going on? Started at the schools, but now it seems to be filtering up here. Have we become that sensitive as a public?
Well, Rich, I mean, I think sensitivity is the whole thing here. I mean, we all know the sergeant with the Marines yelling in the guy's face, you know, berating him. And we're all kind of good with that. We say, and it's kind of a work environment too. The guy's standing there, and we say, yeah, that's what you do when you're in the Marines. It's the sensitivities that we all have. You know, that person's not allowed to say this to me. And it's really civility we're talking about. You know, you expect it to be treated a certain way from certain people. Now, you talk about
but the
bringing
four of us
lawsuits.
have kids. Some of us might be comfortable with a coach not putting hands on and not using derogatory language, but yelling at one of our kids to hustle and get back on defense, or, you know, to suck it up here and then to play on. Maybe one of us wouldn't. Is it now that kind of a judgment world we live in, or no?
I don't think so. I think that nobody really has a problem with coaches motivating their kids in that way, get out there and so on and so
Apparently
forth.
At Rutgers,
well,
there might be.
But that's way over the top.
I'm not talking about the basketball coach. The football coach, apparently, to a freshman player who also was dissatisfied with his playing time, was getting on him. And at least when we know, and it's preliminary at this case, and there's confusing information. The parents said they were fine with how it was handled. Now they say they weren't. But the point is, he felt he was being berated by the coach. If we take away the physical aspect of it, how do we define what is motivating, what is bullying? Do you have to show a cause and effect where you can lose wherewithal or whatever else? I just see this thing being inevitable. And I'm not trying to sound like a Neanderthal, but it just seems so... Where's the line? Well,
that's the thing, and it's an evolving line, and it's one that's going to have to be defined. And you have a situation like this, which may not go anywhere, because the reality of it is that it wasn't as demeaning as you know, one would be so offended by. You know, but the one thing I do want to say is that it's not the way to get the best out of people. So it's kind of stupid to begin with. I understand motivating people. I understand pep talks. I coached my kids. I was coached as a kid. I get that. But as a boss, it's not the way to get the best out of people. You need to motivate people, and you need to make them feel good And same thing with a coach, coaching a team. It's one thing to motivate. It's one thing to point out weaknesses. It's another thing to say, you know, get your butt out there and play some defense. You're sleeping. I don't think anybody has a problem with that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but you know something? That doesn't mean that that's a line that's going to be crossed.
Well, they're starting now also to try to hold parents liable for the conduct of their kids. So if you were mean to someone on Facebook and that child happens to harm themselves, now they want to hold the parents liable. I think at that point we're really starting to go much too far. The parents don't even know half the time that the kids are on Facebook or that the conversation's even occurring.
This all comes back to being dads. No matter what we
That's
do,
right.
it comes back to it. You guys did good today, even though you kept trying to hedge on, depends on the case. But exactly.
It's Doug's fault.
That's the default. Doug's fault. James, Doug, Mayo, guys, thank you very much. We're going to see you back here next week, and we will see you at home here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Remember that special we have on JFK on Friday night. We'll see you tomorrow.